Hey everybody, I know we're getting ready to go live here soon, so just kind of wanted to touch base. Go ahead and open up the room. This is the first time I've done a live like this. I'm getting all kinds of education right now. We're also going to try to capture the sound file here, so that way in case that's something that's useful in the future. So that's what all this gear is for. So good to see everybody. Thank you for joining us so far. I'm going to we're going to be talking with Tyler today at Oregon Flowers, and we're going to let him do the introduction. But I will tell you this, my many years of being in wholesale, this particular farm is, hey Gracie, definitely one of the premier growing operations in our country. There's lots of people that grow the same kind of products, and then they're all great. There's a lot of great growers, but I just always had a soft spot in my heart for this particular one, only because they did so much incredible stuff for us over the time. So we're waiting for Tyler to kind of join us. I'm sorry, I'm kind of doing this at the first time here, so be patient. Feel free to throw some questions out when that time comes. And I think we're going to be good here soon. So, yeah, I hope everybody got to go back and see the live we did this morning where we unboxed Green Valley Floral Roses this morning. And yesterday we had Camflor product that we unboxed. And it was kind of fun to see that. I see Oregon Flowers saying hello. Let's see if we can get them to join here. First time doing this. Hi, Tyler.
Hey, how's it going? How you guys doing over there?
It's going great.
Good.
We're doing good. We have a pretty day. Good. So how about there? Perfect. How's the weather there?
You know, it's a nice and cool day in Oregon. We're just about 30 miles south of Portland, Oregon. I'm standing inside our greenhouse now. And I really wanted to take a minute and say, thank you, Scott, for letting us, for this opportunity. It's a little different from us. We're used to growing flowers and selling them to wholesalers across the country, and that has really changed over the last couple of weeks. We're learning every day, and we're adjusting as needed. But we'll get through it. And just like a lot of the other farms and wholesalers and retailers out there, we'll get through it. It's just going to take a little bit of shifting right now, and I'm confident we'll be just fine. But this, just standing in front of you on the phone right now too is a little uncomfortable. It's not what I'm used to doing, but I'm willing to give it a shot, and we'll see how this goes. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like I said earlier before you came on. This is definitely the first time for me doing it this way too. So I think all of us flower people are having to embrace technology in new ways, and so yeah, it's been fun. I wanted to first of all let you kind of introduce your company, what they do, and I'm glad you touched on it already, that you typically only sell through wholesale channels. That's your business model, but now there's a lot of shifting and pivoting and things that we're trying to figure out as we move forward, so temporarily. So tell us about Oregon Flowers.
Yeah, I'd love to. Well, our company started by my parents, Martin and Tyler Meskers, who were originally bulb farmers in Holland. They grew up, and I think Martin was like 4th generation bulb farmer, making me 5th generation flower bulb farmer. So it's in our blood. We don't know anything better. We don't know anything different. So, that puts us a little unique here. But yeah, in 1979, my folks, Martin and Len, moved from a small town in Julianadorp in Annapolona. It's the northern part of Holland. Most of which, if you see photos of the tulips in bloom in Holland, that small town is right in the center of that. So they know tulips, they know lilies. That's their background.
Sure.
They came to the United States to, pursue their American dream. And all small stories, I always asked my dad in the past, what drew you to the United States? And he said, the classic cowboy videos and the opportunity that this country can give us. And so an internship came up when he was 21 years old in Sandy, Oregon, to help locals grow lily bulbs. And at the time, they're looking for new areas across the globe where to grow lilies outside of the Holland. So they heard the Willamette Valley of Oregon was very favorable for growing different items. And so they came out and they needed some Dutch influence over here to kind of teach the locals how to grow cut flower bulbs. So I think the offer, and don't quote me on this, but I think it was $50 a week, a pickup, and a small apartment to stay in. Right? That was the opportunity. And he said, I'd love to take it. So they moved over. And started with the locals, kind of educating people how to grow, and saw that there's a demand for local cut flowers. So coming from the bulb industry, decided, hey, Dad or my grandfather, do you mind sending a tray of bulbs over this way, and I'll put them in the ground, and let's see how they grow. So he did that. My grandpa, Tyler Meskers, sent them over. He put them in the ground, and they sold very well locally. And so then the first thing the customer said, well, what do you have for next week? Well, we just cut all those and they're all gone. So what I have to do is plant another crate or figure a way out to elongate our season.
Right.
And from then on, decide, well, if we put a poly house up, maybe we could do a couple weeks at a time and sell as the weeks go. And that showed very favorable and worked out really well. We're growing freesias, lilies, tulips in the spring. And then, people started asking for flowers in the late fall and in the winter. And so they thought, well, how can we make that work? Well, looking into investing in a greenhouse, has some grow lights, some heating, and therefore slowly created a business that can run year-round a lily operation. So a bit of the history there. It started in 1979. In 1985, he started this business here, Martin and both, and have grown within their means since. And I feel really humbled and really proud of my parents because they really they're an example of the American dream. And they've worked extremely hard and have been extremely humble throughout the whole time. And because of that, we have that 35 years of history. It's going to get us through a challenging time like we're in now. So every day, thankful for what they've done, proud of what they've done, and to give their kids this opportunity is just, it's amazing. So I'm proud to stand here because of their hard work that we will get through this. We're going to grow quality cut flowers every week. We're going to do the best we can selling. And we'll get through this, and when it's all done, we'll probably be looking back at this and think, good night, what a road that was. I just can't wait for that opportunity to come up.
Well, I know, and I said this before you came on, and I'll say it again, there are a lot of growers of product in the U.S. I feel like that I can often tell the difference in every single bunch of flowers you guys produce. And so I know there's a lot of heart that goes into and history that goes into each thing you cut. So tell us where you are right now. Which greenhouse are you in?
Sure. So this is our greenhouse 10, we call it. We have 10 greenhouses, different growing facilities. Number 10 is just a number. It doesn't really mean how big or how many there are. It's just, we call it greenhouse 10. This one was built in, 2014. So just about 5 years old, and this is our newest growing facility. I'll kind of give you a little circle here of what it looks like. I'm standing in between our Oriental and OT hybrid lilies. It's about 2.5 acres in size. What we're doing right now is we're planting this week for what we'll be cutting in July. And like I said before, we're going to keep going. So we're planting this week, planning for sales in July. It's not usually a crazy bumper month for us to sell cut flowers in July, but it is, for us to have year-round production and for us to sell every week of the year, then we need flowers all the time. So I'm standing here. These are Oriental lilies behind me. I'm starting to realize the need of a selfie stick. I've never thought I'd buy one, but my arm's getting a little tired, so I might need to do a little switching later.
That's okay. That's okay.
But we have, Crystal Blanca lilies here. Santander lilies, Zambezi lilies. These are all white Oriental and OT hybrids. Most of the industry just call them Orientals. We also have some pink Sorbones, some Dancer lilies, Vendome lilies, which are the lighter shade Oriental lilies and OT hybrid lilies. Vendome is a pollen-free variety, which is really unique. Dancer is a new pink variety, which is very popular at the moment. And Sorbonne is the old reliable that consistently being asked for and a lot of people know of. And then darker varieties, we have Carbonero being one of them, Dalian, multiple different varieties. I think right now in this greenhouse we have about, 35 different varieties we're growing. In the yellow, we have Conquistador, Telesto, Lesotho, different varieties for different needs. and so forth.
Sure. So I want to ask a question out to the audience briefly.
Sure.
I'm hearing some sound feedback. And so is anyone out there hearing that feedback, or is it just me? So if you guys let me know, then I can adjust if we need to. So the one reason why I wanted to reach out to your company, Tyler, especially, is because, you know, we're hearing a lot of stories, we're hearing a lot of feedback with all of the changes. And thank you for letting me know that, Foxbound. Bulb growers are in a very, everyone has a unique situation, but bulb growers, my heart really goes out for, because you are, you know, each bulb has one shot, and you can't put the brakes on, you can't, you know, turn the switch off, you can't do these things. You know, with roses, you could disc bud if you were able to, or perennials you could harvest and clean. This is a different dynamic. I want people to understand.
Yeah, they're exactly right. You know, it's fortunate or unfortunate. A bulb, the way we do it here is we plant brand new bulbs every week. We put them into the greenhouse, into the ground in black crates, like you can see here. Everything's planted in a black crate. We force it to flower, which means we have a schedule that we look at, and we say, if we plant this bulb at this time, say this week, it's going to bloom within 3 to 4 months from now. There are small changes we could do to either increase the speed or slow down the speed, but really, if it's in the ground, it's going to come. And 2 weeks ago, prior to all this going on, we had no idea. We thought we'd plant for end of June, early July, and everything was normal routine.
Right.
And all of a sudden, everything started changing. And if we would have known about this 4 months ago, we probably would have adjusted our planting schedule. But right now, we have product coming, and it's going to grow, like it or not. You notice I got my jacket on because our greenhouse is cold. We have it cooled right now. We're not forcing heat on them to continue to produce. And we're doing that so we can buy a little bit of time so that things do not come all at once. So right now, what we're really trying to do is slow our crop down so it comes, and just buying us a bit more time.
Sure.
That's all really what we can do. And then really do the best we can with sales. It's challenging right now. But we're hanging in there, and we're going to keep selling. But yeah, it's a unique time for us. We have flowers coming, and we got to keep a smile on our face, and we got to keep trying to sell the best we can.
So right now, just to give people an idea, how much are your sales down?
I think right now, this last week, I would say we're probably 90% down.
Yeah.
We're used to selling Saturday morning 2 full trucks, and it was 2 pallets. So that was a pretty humbling experience.
Wow.
So it has definitely affected us. What's keeping us going is local grocery stores are taking our product. And this was business we've already done for years, so it's nothing new. We're just very thankful that the grocery stores are continuing buying flowers and are needing flowers. And then, you know, the one-off opportunity of, you know, a florist shop or somebody out there or another grocery store in the area saying, hey, I need flowers and I can't get them through my current vendor. We're open to opportunities right now. We were designed primarily to sell the wholesale. We've always kind of done that since the day we've opened. But we've noticed the last 10 years that we kind of pivoted our sales more towards grocery stores. Just to kind of spread our risk a little bit. And we're thankful we did that now. But it was pretty much, you know, 80% wholesale, 20% grocery. And that's just been a little challenging for us with our sales side. But we're seeing some opportunity come of that, because that customer that typically would buy from the wholesaler is still needing flowers. And that wholesaler may not be open right now. And so we're trying to work with them to figure out means of getting our product to them. So some unique opportunities come up that kind of excites us. We've always been it's probably from my Dutch heritage, very strict and disciplined. And, you know, if we say we sell wholesale, we just do that and don't really go away from that. And I think we've built a lot of loyalty from that. But now with everything changing, our priority is just to provide flowers for those who need them. And when it all comes and settles down again, we're ready to sit down at the table with our customers and then straighten it all back out again. But right now, what we see is we have product, and there's a need for it. And so for everybody to keep going, we feel that we just need to make that adjustment now. And, when things pass and we're ready to sit at the table again with our customers and say, okay, how can we get it back to normal? Because we're focused towards growing to wholesalers. That's what we're set up to do. And for us to change in 2 weeks or even a week to sell direct, that's a challenge for us to do. So we're willing to accept the challenge and take it on. But it's something that we're well aware of. We just want to provide flowers to those who need them right now, and then deal with the logistics later, I think is kind of our game plan at the moment.
Sure. Well, I know a lot of companies are having to pivot and having to find ways to turn these flowers that you can't stop into cash, just for cash flow. I mean, it's like many of them have described it as, we're sort of in survival mode. Yeah. At this point, nobody wanted to go this route, but this is kind of where we're at.
Exactly.
I'd like to just take a moment, and I don't know, and I can speak to this a little bit. But I tell you what, before I do what I was just going to do, let me make a note here. Did you mention yesterday, I think, that you might have tulips in the vicinity? Are you near some tulips?
Well, I put my bike here, so I'm really challenged my Dutch skills of using technology and riding my bike. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah, no, it's in another greenhouse. So I have some tulips. I'll head on over there.
Well, if you want to put it in your pocket or something right now, we don't want you to hurt yourself. That's fine. We all understand. It's all good.
No worries. I probably shouldn't say that now, but yeah, I'm used to riding and talking on the phone. I'll be okay. But
goodness. Well, one of the things,
all right,
I saw a question from somebody that I'm going to, while he's moving, I want to address. That is, they are shipping currently to, we're getting some wind there. Let me see what other questions we have.
Follow the forklift.
Wow, I feel like we're getting, this is really cool. See all the crates, the empty crates?
Yeah, so what we just passed is our packing warehouse, and that's pretty much where we do all our planting. And then from there, we plant and pre-treat our bulbs before they go into the greenhouse. So once they've been planted, they're stacked on a pallet. These pallets are ready to be brought into the greenhouse. And that's what we're working on today. So we're going to keep going. We're going to bring in flowers that are needed for end of June and early July. And we'll keep going. Our crew has been very loyal to us for many of years. So we're going to keep going. Hours be trimmed a little bit, but for the most part, we're going to keep everybody going and use up some more reserves just so our crew can count on us. We count on them to keep going, and those are the important things for us.
Right. Well, your facility is amazing, and I know that your family's reputation and just everything you guys do there is just it's just indicative of Dutch growing and the quality that goes behind it. And I'm really thankful to hear that you are trying to do that as long as you can, at least. So I think we had one person while you're walking mention that, and I know I've seen some questions from Steve from Natchez Glen, so we'll get back to that, Steve. Tyler's asking for you to mention your app. You have a great app, evidently. I've not.
We do, yeah. So what we did about a year and a half ago, we kind of created an app to highlight our product. A lot of growers would build a poster and send them out to all their customers. And what I always had a problem with was when you had a nice poster with your logo on it and beautiful pictures on it, and then all of a sudden a variety would become no longer available.
Oh, yeah.
First thing what people would do is take a big Sharpie and cut right through it. And then they Sharpie the variety out. That's not available. This one's not available right now. And, I always thought that was kind of silly. You have a nice logo of pictures and all these X marks us through it. So we created an app to highlight our availability. It does not have pricing or quantity, but it has pictures, original pictures that we've taken or our suppliers have taken of the varieties we grow. It's on our app, Oregon Flowers, in your app store. I got a little piece of paper here. Oh, and cool. If you just type in Oregon Flowers in your app store, then it'll pop up and you can see currently available. And you'll see all the lilies, all the Asiatics, all the Orientals, the Starfighter lilies we have available, our tulips, all the tulip varieties we currently have right now in the cooler. So that's been, that's super helpful right now with explaining to people what do we have, because a lot of people are wondering, well, what's available, what can I get?
Right, live inventory
on the app. That's right, it's live inventory. It's if it's in the cooler, it's on the app. And if it's sold out, it updates itself. So that's something we incorporated the last 2 years.
Tyler, one of the questions that came through was about, just to be real clear, I know that we've talked about the fact that you normally sell wholesale, but you are currently taking retail orders because you've got 90% of your production that's sitting there looking for a home. And so this is not your normal situation, but this is a great opportunity. If you've never tried their product or have never been, had it available at your local wholesaler, this is a great chance for you to use their app, call them up, however, and Tyler, you can tell us the best way to connect with you guys. But this is a great way to try their product. And then after this is all over, they'll help you continue to source the product from whoever, your regular supplier would be. Is that a fair way to describe it?
I think you're right on. Yeah, we are open to selling to direct right now. But like I said earlier, it's not something we've really done too much before.
Right.
So it is something that would have to kind of logistically make sense. But, a box of Orientals are things we can take on right now. Boxes of tulips, that's totally fine. I think there's 8 bunches in an Oriental box. There's 30 bunches of tulips in a tulip box. They're all 10 stem bunches. We have hyacinths available too. That's the only thing we do as 5 stem. But yeah, no, that's we're open to it. We understand there's some logistic challenges with trucking and things like that. But we have UPS and FedEx accounts. We're ready to sell flowers. We have flowers here. You can see here, this is White Rebel, a variety that we're going to be pulling the next couple days. Yeah,
you can see the buds on them almost.
And we got multiple different varieties. We've cooled the greenhouse down the last couple days, really to slow things down.
So Tyler, what's the temperature right now?
In our greenhouse, I think right now we're sitting at it's the windows are open outside. If I had to guess right now, about 50 degrees inside.
Okay.
So definitely cool to kind of slow the progress down, which they would otherwise be around 65 to really keep things moving.
So how much time does that buy you, slowing it as much as 15 degrees?
Yeah, it's heavily dependent on the weather outside. And last week it was super nice. So great for the morale and great for the kids to be outside. But, not ideal for flower production at this time. If it was last year, we would love it because the natural weather and beautiful weather to grow these flowers is helpful. But right now we don't mind hitting the brakes a bit. So this cooler weather for us in our facility is helping us quite a bit. But I'm just walking through the tulips. This variety is called Lalibela. It's an orange variety. It's a single flowering. As we go past here, we've got these varieties here. This one is Icone, which is a double orange. Sorry, my video challenges here.
You're good.
And then as we go, there's more or less a palette of every variety, which is about 300 bunches of each variety. And right now I think we're growing about 42 different varieties. And those are scheduled to come every week.
That's what I was going to say, every week. Okay.
And we got parrots, two-tones, doubles, single flowering tulips, a few French tulips, which may be coming in the next couple of weeks, depending on weather again. Those are flowers that grow outside. But yeah, all those things, if they come available, we'll put them on the app. And they're available for our customers, essentially to use the app as a tool to see what we have available and if that interests them. And also for florists or event planners or anybody like that, if they want to show a customer of a specific color or variety, that's a true photo of what we're growing. Just kind of a tool to help customers out. Never thought it would be used for what we're doing now.
Yeah, no.
But
I understand. Yeah, well, I mean, and that's, sometimes that's the importance of just trying to look down the road a little bit. And what made perfect sense before now is, are those parrots?
This is a fringe tulip called Maywood.
Oh,
it's a pure red fringe.
Ooh.
So that's kind of a neat one. We also have a single flowering red, which is called Strong Love. Yeah, plenty of color, plenty of options, plenty of varieties right now. It's a fun time to grow tulips. It's not a very fun time to sell them right now.
No. So Tyler, I know you're in the middle of your tulip greenhouse there. How far are you from the cooler where the flowers are?
You're just around the cooler, right around the corner here. It's
Okay.
it's a little darker, and I may have to do something with our internet. I switched my Wi-Fi off, so I don't know if I'll lose you guys going in.
Well, we can just try it, and then we can, I want people to see, it's so funny because a lot of times when people think, oh, wow, I can't wait to see a greenhouse full of flowers, they're expecting to see a greenhouse full of flowers. And I know it's often people don't realize, well, if your blooms are blooming in the field, then it's probably too late. And so
Right.
You've got to cut them prematurely so that way you can get them cold and get them ready to pack, because they won't ship wide open, of course. And so if it's possible to show people, then we'll try. Or if we can't, then we'll pass.
So I just walked into our packing warehouse, and this is where we pack all our flowers. So we got a few boxes, came at a good time. There's a couple orders for today, which is great, to a grocery store. Those are all packed up. We'll deliver them this afternoon to a local grocery store. Once the flowers have been cut, they put in these coolers. This is our staging cooler before they're packaged. Before the door shuts, we can take a look. These are the tulips we pulled for today. We'll go take a peek in there in a minute. But that's our inventory.
Okay.
That's what we have available right now to run. This is our tulip house, our tulip cooler. Or to the Wi-Fi, so I think that might help a little bit. Here we have lilies.
Okay.
Ready to be. So this is how we stage them. These are all cut within the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Anything older than 2 days we're not dealing with. We put them in the back cooler, which not really one of those coolers I want to show you guys. There's quite a bit of product in there. Our 2 days is what we consider what we want to hold. After that, we don't feel comfortable holding it, and we want to cut new for the customers. So up here it may look a little bare, but anything that's older than 2 days, we're putting aside.
Sure. Well, and plus, you're going to have at some point, you're going to hopefully have a little bit of a lag because you're slowing down the other production, and so it's not coming on quite as strong, hopefully. Well, I'm hearing some bad feedback. Maybe it'll get better now. I know that one of the questions that we've gotten, let me see if I can scroll back to it. Can you hear me okay, Tyler?
I can hear you fine, yep.
Okay. How do you guys feel about the South American market and how it influences lily production and things?
Sure. Yeah, it's it definitely makes competition a bit harder, but we are always, we're okay with competition. It usually makes the product better. I always think we can stand behind our quality because of our system and how we do things here. I think we can compete very well against any other South American grown flowers. What we try and do is just cut every day and match our supply with demand the best we can. And the way we've done that is pretty much take notes over the last 2 years, 3 years, and see how long it takes each variety to grow once it's planted to when it's cut. And so we have about 3 years worth of data that we've been using to see through every week of the year, when we plant a certain variety in the ground, how long it takes to flower.
Sure.
And so we know that information for the last 3 years. And so we can pretty much say every week of the year, a variety like Sorbonne, if we planted it in May, it's going to take about 74 days for it from bulb to cut. That same variety Sorbonne, if you plant it in October, it'll take, I think it was like 115 days to grow. So we've kind of taken that data to really help us hone in on getting our supply and demand just right. So we always have the right amount of product for when the customer needs it. And so with our past history of selling, obviously this month is going to be a little bit of an outlier with sales, but otherwise we've gotten really good at trying to plant the right amount of product, so we never have to really push the market full of flowers for low prices. We try and keep our pricing the same throughout the whole year and just make sure we have the right amount of product when our customers needs them.
Sure.
So that's been helpful for us. But this, like I said, this time right now is a little bit of a challenge.
Well, Tyler, I know that you've been super busy juggling everything. I wanted to just kind of also address from the standpoint of the South American product. it's almost like apples and oranges. Yes, they're both lilies, but what you do and they do are very, very different. And it's like you can't almost even compare them. And so, yes, they may have certain advantages that you don't, but I don't feel like you're really, it's kind of like a European sports car and maybe some low end, other car. You know what I mean? It's like apples and oranges.
Yeah, no, we totally try for that. I think I've used that example before, the Bentley versus the Kia.
Yeah.
we try to have the Bentley product. And, just simple things like, quality, consistency, reliability. Those are three things, right? It's next to our time clock. Everybody that clocks into work says that's what we work for. Consistent product every week so that a customer knows that, if they get a bunch of Santander lilies, that this week are going to look the same as next week, as the same as next week, as the same as in December. So we try and provide quality consistently and then be there for your customers when you need them. So provide, good service. It really just comes down to the basics, fresh product, work hard, provide for your customer, good service. And those things have really kept us in business and kept us going. And I don't see that changing anytime soon.
No.
Yes, they have a lot of advantages of growing at the equator. No greenhouse like this is needed, no grow lights, things like that. But, we provide a local product. And I could tell you that if somebody were to buy our lilies, that these amigas that were cut right here, they came from this greenhouse. And I know the supplier and the bulb grower, for that matter, who coincidentally or not, he's interning with us right now. So there's just a lot of things that are just, that's our special sauce, I guess. It's just something that just kind of puts ourselves aside, different from everybody else. And it's worked for all these years. And we'll just keep trying that as long as it doesn't. And we'll adjust when we need to.
Sure. Well, I don't know if anybody has any other questions out there. I'm sure we can ask Tyler some things, or we can move forward. Have you guys, because you're agricultural, you have not had to force quarantine, or what is the status of the COVID-19 in your area right now?
Yeah, so at the moment it's a lot of the movie theaters and things like that are closed. We are agriculture. We can continue working. We're taking our own precautions of keeping our safe and a safe environment for our crew and for our families here. So as far as us working goes, we continue working. We're doing our own measures of trying to stay safe here, wiping down doorknobs every day, keeping a clean environment, asking our crew to obey, some, things just to kind of, make sure we're all safe here. Weekly meetings that we've been having the last 2 weeks of just having everybody in the warehouse, and we just kind of discussing what we know, what our expectations are, and really enforcing the idea that, hey guys, we're in it for the long haul. We're gonna get through it now. Be safe, be clean, and work with us through it. And I think since half of our crew have been with us for more than 15 years,
wow.
A handful of them have been with us for 30 years. One have been with us before I was born. So we got people that have been here for a very, very long time, and they're in it as much as we are. And I think this place wouldn't turn without that. So it's a very family feel here. It's something that we're super grateful for having right now. And I think it just goes both ways. Our employees are proud to work for Oregon Flowers, and my family is proud to run a company with these people. And I think that's going to get us through. But going back to what you had mentioned, we're just trying to keep it safe. Do it within the regulations that we're allowed. But right now we can cut, we can work, we're giving each other some space. We're cleaning up after ourselves, making sure everything's nice and clean in the lunchrooms and door handles and stairways and things like that, doing that extra precaution. And then that's kind of where we're at right now. But that could change any hour, any day. That's the stressful part of it. That keeps you up at night. You just don't know what you're up against. But we're taking it day by day, hour by hour, and cutting flowers for those who need them, and trying to keep going.
Well, Tyler, we had a question about South American growers. It was, and I'm sure you know this better than I know Ecuador has a lily growers. Does Colombia grow lilies too, or is it strictly Ecuador?
I think Ecuador grows some, and a lot from Costa Rica as well. There's a big grower in Costa Rica. And so, but yeah, those, our customers, they can buy, and often do, they often buy South American lilies. They'd often buy ours lilies. They also buy California lilies. So it kind of depends what the market is for. our market has been more, like, more towards the events, the corporate wedding or corporate events, or the weddings, the bigger venues. That's kind of what we've always done well. We try and grow a larger bulb size, newer varieties, and give them lots of space so they're happy and strong.
Sure.
And that usually, then we can compete pretty well with what others can produce. In a normal day, I would say. Right now, I don't think it mattered too much. It's just kind of getting through and surviving.
Right. Well, the product is definitely, you're exactly right, event-worthy product. I mean, they're showstopper lilies. I mean, I was fortunate that the entire time I was at Cut Flower that I think we had your product. And I remember Casablancas. I mean, the Casablancas we got 27 years ago looked exactly like the Casablancas you would get last week. And it's like the quality, and I was thankful for Crystal Blanco, by the way, if people aren't familiar with that variety. I think it's a better version, but some people still like the old varieties. Briefly, I see, is that Callas behind you now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got our Callas that were scheduled for Mother's Day. And the very first ones, I'll walk over to them. We have a few yellow Captain Morelli, I believe is his name. Those will be pulled here in the next couple days. So this is usually what takes us after tulip season. We continue on through with Callas. So the first flowers are just starting out here. And like I said earlier, these plantings were scheduled for Mother's Day. And they'll come for Mother's Day. We just have to try and do our best can with sales.
Right.
But this usually takes us through the summer seasons. We grow lilies year-round, tulips from December till about Mother's Day, callas from about Mother's Day until about October, and then seasonal flowers throughout the season based on what time of the year it is. Daffodils in February, French tulips in March, April. Let's see here. We got snowball viburnums and peonies coming in May.
Yeah, oh my gosh,
peonies. Allium, all kinds of different cut flowers based on what grows well. But iris, allium through the summer, sedum. As we go into the fall, we have rose hips,
hydrangeas,
berries, hydrangeas, ilex berries, things like that to kind of get us throughout our field flowering season.
So we had a question, and I don't understand the question, Steve. If you want to, if maybe I'm not asking it right, Steve was asking, do they start 18 to 20 bulbs for lily? Do you understand that? I don't.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's usually the bulb size. Yeah,
okay,
it depends on. Yeah, so there's typical. Most foresters like us start with 12 14s. 12 is a diameter of the bulb.
Sure.
And I believe, so 12 14 is usually on the smaller side. 14 16 is middle size. 16 18 is kind of bumping up to the higher end. 1820s and 2022s is the biggest. I don't think they even sell anything larger than 2022. That just gets out of hand. Then you're talking like, 12 buds per stem on some varieties.
Yeah.
So we grow between 16 18s and 1820 bulb sizes, and that guarantees us a minimum of three buds per stem, oftentimes 4 to 5 buds per stem.
Sure.
So we kind of look at that and say if it's a variety that's not very bud heavy, it can use a few more blooms. Then we bump up to an 1820 or sometimes 2022s. These callas are 2022 size, so they're the biggest size you can buy. They're sourced from Captain Calla. It's a Dutch company known for breeding the best quality callas. Our lilies are sourced through Zabo Plant and Onins, also two of the best exporters in the world. They supply lilies to us. They supply lilies to growers in Japan, in Holland. Our tulips are supplied by Roos. GK Roos, a Dutch tulip bulb forester and exporter. So we try and just buy the best quality bulbs we can and produce the best quality flower. And oftentimes, if we get our timing right, the sales usually work out in a normal scenario. This week is a little different.
Sure. Well, I know your callas when we've ever gotten them. I mean, they are spectacular. They really are. I mean, it's just incredible. The stem length, the size of the flower, the varieties you grow. You definitely have your fingers on the pulse there. Well, Tyler, I know that you and I could probably talk flowers all day long. long, but
I
I
think
feel
you're right.
I feel bad that I feel like we're on a bad episode of Survivor and you're having to hold your arms out like some kind of challenge here for the last 40 minutes. You've been a super trooper on all this. And so as I close, I just want to remind everybody that tomorrow morning, gosh, my days are blurring here. We're doing a live design video with Jenny Early from Enemies of the Average. And we just released a new episode with Hitomi Gilliam. I can't believe I have to look. Hitomi Gilliam this morning. And so there's a lot of things going on at the Flower Podcast. Thank you, Tyler, so much. Thank you, Oregon Flowers, for letting us get a peek into the greenhouses. And what is the best way for people to reach out to you right now to, if they're interested in just talking about if they have a situation that works for both of you to get flowers?
Sure. Yeah. No, I think maybe check out our website to start, OregonFlowers.com. OregonFlowers.com. Then you can see our availability and our contact on the right-hand side on the top of the homepage. Yeah, I think that'd probably be easiest. Email, there's plenty of emails on the email list.
Sure.
Tyler at OregonFlowers.com is my direct email. Our phone number, 503-678-2580. That's our office. But yeah, no, I think we'll get through it. I really want to take a minute and say thank you for highlighting us and
absolutely.
And understanding, the challenges we're going through. I feel like the whole floral industry is pretty unique because you're dealing with the flower farmer to the designer. And there's many steps, many hands in between to get to the end product and make it look as beautiful as we can make it. But I really want to say thank you to you to highlight it and all the support you've given our family and our business all these years to get us through these 35 years. And we'll get through it to make another 36 years and 37 years. And I'm confident we'll do another video like this and under different circumstances.
I'd love that. That'd be great. Maybe in person.
That sounds good.
All right, Tyler. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, guys. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. Tyler is an incredible source of information. And with years and years and years that family, in horticulture has brought to this whole process. And we're going to capture this video and try to share it because I know, people are doing all kinds of different things. And I want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to learn about Oregon flowers. So until our next live tomorrow morning, y'all take care. All right. Bye-bye.